tribal liaison for the Forest Service is an interesting position. It's kind of my job to make sure that the public and the tribes are aware of what we're doing on federal land, any undertakings, ground disturbing activities, or any actions at all that would be of concern to Indian tribes.
There's a need for tribes to interact with federal agencies and document their history on the land so that they can get protection for places and so that they can have a seat at the table when it comes to making decisions.
We do government-to-government consultation with 11 Indian tribes. And one of the things that they've been telling us from the beginning is that, one, they want to be involved, they want to influence decisions. But one of the other things that they've been saying is that we need tribal monitors on the ground so that people can be identifying tribal values, traditional cultural properties, subsistence areas, sacred sites, which is something that right now archaeologists are not trained to do.
What we're trying to do is create a cadre of folks that can work alongside archaeologists and essentially provide them some tribal perspective.
We are training tribal monitors from the ground up. They've gone through 2 weeks worth of training now, 1 week of classroom to understand the background and get a hand of the law, the executive orders, the authorities that might pertain to cultural properties and historic properties.
Here I wanted to bring in 3 individuals that are fairly new to the advisory team, but I wanted them to know all the laws, especially the acronyms too, because a lot of the acronyms are used in meetings, and if you're not aware of what they are, it's, you're just sitting there not really absorbing all that information.
And a week of on the ground, get out there, figure out what a survey is and what they're going to be taking part of and what the landscape looks like and what's going to be expected of them. And this is just the beginning. We realize 2 weeks is not sufficient in order to make people fully functionable in the field, but they have now the background knowledge to be comfortable in the field and to ask more questions and to feel empowered.
Training for them to understand how an archaeological crew moves through the woods, how it moves through the desert, how that crew is going to be looking at sites, how they're going to be documenting sites, essentially so that the tribal members who are working alongside the crew can kind of walk that walk and talk that talk, so that they can be there as collaborators and partners.
That archaeologists are trained in a different science. They have book learning, but we have field experience. We can identify a lot of things that they're not aware of. So it's a combination. They're going to teach us and we're going to teach them.
How is this affecting Indigenous peoples? How is this affecting our sacred landscape? And how is this going to affect our future generations and our waterways and our culture? Because without these natural things, we as a people won't be able to continue.
Archaeologists do a lot of good things, but you can't really tell people's story for them, and you can't really get at the attachments that people have to places unless you work directly with them.
And in the state of Arizona, there's 22 different tribes that are federally recognized here. So it's a lot of consultation that happens and a lot of outreach, because sometimes people don't know what they don't know. So they have to be told that, or at least let them know a little bit more, because you can't just expect somebody to know everything already.
My ancestors were very reluctant to put this information out. But sometimes not putting that information out, not having that information really hurt us. Because when we do make a statement or a claim, they say, well, this is the first time we've ever heard about Zunis being interested in this.
What we are doing is taking another step in that collaboration.
It all ties in with that, working with people and relationships, and how can we as an agency better communicate that we try to protect these legacies that are still on the landscape.
Having them understand that we do want to have a voice. We should be given that opportunity.
I have seen very clearly that the Forest Service and the tribes are natural partners at so many different levels. We just are. We have a lot of mutual interests and mutual concerns, and while there are areas of where we don't necessarily agree, there's a lot that we can find to agree on and actually work together to accomplish as partners. And it's a terribly effective tool.
So I think that's a big victory for us, because now we have a seat at the table and we have a voice.
My hope going forward is that this idea of incorporating tribal members into archaeological survey becomes the norm, that it's not just the biology or the geology or the animals or the archaeology that's important. You know, we're missing a component there, and it's the cultural value, it's the tribal value. And in order to make more responsible decisions as agencies and land managers, we need to be aware of that. We need to be considering it. You know, it's our due diligence.
It's great to have opportunities like this to be able to further protect the things that we're responsible for.
And so I think now I'm just trying to work on getting my little niche in there, and I think it's going to be with more monitoring and in the field work.
So hopefully I would still be in our community, still doing this work. I feel like this is a position I would want to be in for the rest of my life.